The String Ninjas Podcast.
Come get some. Don't have time to play with myself.
Take it easy. We're the good guys.
Hail to the king, baby.
The String Ninjas Podcast.
You guys suck.
It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. One yank, and then you come.
All right, folks, how's it going? Welcome to yet another edition of the String Ninjas Podcast.
Series 2, baby.
Series 2. We're on to Series 2. Taking it series is terrible. But anyway.
Surely you can't be serious. Yeah.
Anyway, right. Let's start off. So, Gavin First, Mick Connon, we're here with the wonderful Darren Matthews.
Hi everyone.
Insert applause here.
Do I direct my conversation to you or to the camera? Some of you might be on audio on this one, so
If you want to do anything like really fancy, you just look into the camera and give the wee eyebrow, and I'll slowly zoom it in, and that'll be.
Yeah, for those of you on the audio version of this, I don't have eyebrows, so this is really awkward.
That's right,
Yeah.
The phantom eyebrow.
Yeah, my eyebrows are a different colour to the hair on the top of my head. Inbreeding's rife where I'm from, so there you go.
Funny, it's the same with me, only it's my balls.
I always start
They're all grey, my hair and the head's non-existent.
Never trust a man whose eyebrows are a different colour from his hair.
Exactly.
Get out.
Our mum with two first names.
Darren Matthews, that's it. Well, actually, funny, my name is Gavin Ferris, and you're actually Mick Conlon. I'm just learning everybody's name for the first time. Because we've all got first names.
No, two first names.
Yeah,
for
two
a
first
name.
names. Ferris is the first name. Ferris Bueller.
Got you there.
This is when it's Conlon, but a first name.
Conlon could be anything. There's fucking, what did your man name? His child Zion or something? Fucking engineer guy.
Muskie.
Muskie.
fucking
Elon
Space.
Musk.
Oh, the Wi-Fi password.
The Wi-Fi bastard. Him or fucking that rocket. Your man, the rocket.
With the rocket?
With the rocket.
I thought he named his child the formula for pi.
I know it was the password for Hot Wheels. That's how he gets into his Halifax app.
One capital letter and at least one special character.
He is a special character.
Exactly.
God love him.
like how many people see whenever you have to you forget your password and you have to reset it and you just remember what your old password was, so you just add another exclamation point
And then
after
you
it.
forget that one.
Yeah.
You're like, I see. That's what I really fucking hate. I switched over from Android to Apple, and just for the fucking camera, and it has been a fucking nightmare because it's like all my passwords then reset on my computer. They'd all been sitting there, so they had you've been logged in this account on this phone. You need to now do it. And I was like, I haven't got a fucking clue. But do you ever see the meme where it's like enter new password, and you enter it, it says you cannot use old password. It's like why are you doing this thing? It's like every fucking day. I can't even get into my OnlyFans account anymore.
The only thing probably more infuriating than that is anybody here? I'm like a middle child in my house, so to make myself useful, I became the technical department for the family. So I'm the tech department. I used to program VCRs in the 90s. Now we've moved on to my ma owns an iPad. So whenever something needs done, there'll be accounts for online shopping stuff where people have forgotten passwords. And no matter how many times my older brother is the same. He's only 40. It's not a massive generational gap. And I'm trying to say to people, literally, you either use the same password that can't be cracked or remember what you've done. And they're still writing passwords down in a wee book and then losing the wee book. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Some creep from the 40s is fighting the wee book.
Exactly. So I'm the technical department where whenever they get locked out of something, I have to do all the fucking all the bits and bobs. You have your iPad with you? Yeah. Do you have your phone? Yeah. Do you also have access to a fucking carrier pigeon till we get this sorted?
Smoke signals up.
Yeah. Oh.
Look, do you know binary? Do you know ASCII? We need to get this sorted. No, thank God for two fucking, what do you call it?
Two-step authentication.
Because that really is, it's like, although it's to stop fucking hackers and scammers getting into your accounts, it's also to help you remember shit. Because if it was literally, I remember I got in this weird sort of fucking quagmire with Hotmail where it was an old, you can use another account from any different source, like Gmail or whatever, to verify. I had used an old email because I was like, I was using the same password forever, and I was like, I'm never gonna forget it, and then I forgot the fucking password. So then I had to try and use this even older email that I never used to verify the email that I did use, and then it wouldn't let me because obviously I couldn't get into the other account. So then it was like, do you want to try a phone number? And I was like, yeah, that would be helpful. And then it was like, it wasn't the phone number that I originally had. So then I had to change my phone number, but it wouldn't let me change my phone number because I had to authenticate it, but I couldn't have that. So I remember I just kept hitting like send, and then eventually it let me in. And I for the love of money, I can't remember how I got into that Hotmail account, but I still have it to this day. But two-stage authentication meant that I could get a phone number and an email to it, whereas it used to be just one.
Fucking hell.
So I
fair play and persevering, because I would have probably smashed the computer at that point.
I can't remember what was important for me to get into it.
No.
Like since I've had a phone, I've always had the same phone number. I've never had a different number, apart from when I was living abroad and you've different phones.
Funny, it was living abroad that made me get a new phone number, because I had the same SIM card for fucking decades. It was an old pay-as-you-go, $10 a month type of thing.
Yeah.
And then they were like, do you want a contract? You can keep it. So they had changed it over for me, and then I went to New Zealand and had to get one of their SIM cards and took it out. And like I was like, keep it here. That's where it is. It's right here. You're never gonna forget this. That's exactly where it is. Where is it? I don't know what the fuck happened to it. So then when I came home, I had to get a whole new SIM card and a whole new number. So the whole thing New Zealand just fucked me over in ways that you couldn't imagine. Like
I've never done that. Anytime I went traveling, I always got a new contract phone and then kept my phone number, and then I would just get the phone unlocked, and wherever I went, I just stick a new SIM in, because there's times when you're like backpacking or you're in different countries. So say your SIM card in New Zealand doesn't work in Vietnam, but you go buy a SIM card for $1 and just whack it in your phone just so you have data to be like, I'm lost, maps. That's all it's for.
I think that's fucking cool that WhatsApp now exists, because it really doesn't matter, because you can literally travel the world with a SIM in your phone and still phone people and still fucking do all that sort of shit. Where were you 18 fucking years ago when I was in New Zealand?
I almost died.
You could have saved me, you bastards.
I know, it's when you used to get charged for your data roaming,
I know.
and you're like, now you get a contract and it's just, here's 1,000 gigs a month.
Fuck, I'd love 1,000 gigs. Fuck, I haven't had a gig in 2 years. 1,000 gigs a month. Sign me up the fuck.
Yeah, I think I've been doing this fucking podcast about gigs.
This is guys, the minute it takes off, I'm done with you. I'm fucking through with you. Get the fuck out of here.
No, I got one of the best podcasts we recorded in our first series was the one where we had to do a gig live stream thing in the middle of the week. So we came in like 2 days later to record. We saw people. We played music. We ate stew. And there was things to talk about.
I had iced tea.
Yeah. And then a U105 extraordinaire, Mr. Johnny Hero, has not shut the fuck up about us in 2 weeks.
He loves it.
He does. He legit does. He loves us.
That's great.
I don't
That's
know why, but he does.
Local fucking celebrity pimping you out. That's great. I need me one of them.
Yeah, it was so funny.
I think he'd be a very loving pimp.
I think
he's quite a man of big stature, like, so he
is.
fuck out of people.
No, since I started following him on Twitter, like I do appreciate his. I'm like, yeah, I like him. Not that other gobshite for BBC whose name we're not allowed to mention because we get sued. But Johnny Hero, I'm all about him.
Oh, Neven Stolen.
I am.
I did enjoy actually. Johnny Hero was one of the few, one of the people that actually put up like the working man about why it's a disgrace that pints are fucking £8.40 and come in a plastic glass.
I know. It's fucking. It's disgusting.
Yeah, no, we were talking earlier on. Like basically, there was John Hewitt had done a post on their Facebook about the price of their Guinness, and they're like, no worries, we hear about all these London prices coming into Belfast. Our pint of Guinness is still £4.60.
The point of the podcast, the point of the post was we're still the same as what we were pre-COVID. Yeah.
And loads of people ripped into them. We're like, it's a fucking disgrace. I can get it for this, I can get it for that.
£2 in Guatemala.
And then some guy left a comment was like, it's $2.60 in fucking Wetherspoons, and I'm like, oh Jesus! Takes all my strength. I had to find out where he lives, so I can
shoulders and everything.
Scream in his face, you fascist bastard.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we get on to that as well? Because I've actually been in a few pubs now where I'm like, I have to check if I can be there. I can be in any pub, but I'm not fucking buying a drink.
My moral compass is saying, no. It's like when you have like a radioactive fucking Geigermeter, is there?
Geiger counter,
Geigermeister. I'm the Geigermeister.
2 of them, please.
Red Bull, please.
I was the Stiffmeister's half brother. But I exactly the same. Whenever outdoor hospitality was doing its thing, I was like, my mates were like, you call me for a beer? I was like, no, why? They were shit to their staff. Why? Because he's a dick. Why fucking? And it just was like, I can't drink anywhere.
Yeah, you're like, there was men on the news broadcasting from their castles.
Yeah.
Talking about how skint they were. And I was like, sell your castle.
I've had to
Here's
sell
an
the
idea.
West Wing. I've only 17,000 square feet left.
Legit, like, it's a true story.
The grouse are so upset.
True story. Monday the 24th of May, indoor hospitality is allowed to reopen them in Northern Ireland again. So I took myself down to my favourite wee coffee shop at the town, established. I'm no one in there. I went in, I got myself a wee coffee and a wee bit of breakfast. RTE were there shooting an interview with the owners and just talking about, you know, like how you just cope through the pandemic and this and the other, glad to be reopened, the usual kind of stuff. Comes over to me, do you mind if we get a few words? Not a problem. Give him a few words.
Fuck off.
Fuck no.
No, if it was 3 or more.
No, she was like, what's that you're eating there? I was like, well, we have a braised beef shin with some celeriac, some white mushrooms. And she's like, oh, that sounds lovely. And by the way, this is 8:20 on the fucking Monday morning, and I'm going to the gym after.
You fucking foie gras.
Yeah, mate, feed those fucking ducks.
Where's my beluga caviar?
But here, you know, I don't do drugs or sell them, so fuck it. But what happened was, so she asked me just a couple of questions, get a few words, and then whenever stopped recording, we were just chatting off camera, and she was saying how she was really struggling to find any business in sort of Belfast City Centre, really wanted to give their time and talk about how they were glad to be reopened and this, that and the other. And I says, well, that doesn't surprise me. And she says, why is that? I says, because most of the fucking cunts around here have to lie through their teeth.
Yeah.
She says, why is that? I says, because they all fuck their staff over.
Yeah.
That's why. But I was like,
they're all wondering why there's a real hard time finding staff in the industry
Yeah.
now.
it's because they're all just
Because
like,
good hospitality staff, no matter where you go in the world, are a community.
yeah.
Like
They all know each other.
if we all
All
went back,
ride
like
each other?
I know,
All
but
ride each other?
I'm red Mick. But if I went back in the hospitality in the morning
Yeah.
and they were like, "Do you know anybody?" I'd like, "Oh, phone Mick."
Yeah,
You know, sort of way. Like I
yeah.
know. I've never. People have like phoned me up being like, "Oh, guy was saying to me."
all
So-
the staff that were treated well by their employers have went straight back to their employers.
Absolutely.
And then all the bars like that are fucking. But the thing is, all the bars that treat them badly, nobody wants to go for work for them. But other than that, the fucking confidence in the industry is gone now. Not because of even the employers, just because it was just so easily. Here, just shut that down, would you? Do you know what I
But
mean?
luckily
Just-
enough, we're broadcasting from one of the places that was really sound to their people, and
Well, actually, there
I
you
will
go.
fucking give every penny I have on the booze into this bar. So
that was just a happy coincidence. I don't do research like that.
absolutely,
I'd been fucking.
yeah. You'd be in a Weatherspoons if the room was free.
Himmler did what here? Who'd have thunk it? Bit of history.
Yeah,
But yeah, the moral compasses. I do remember like last year when the pandemic started, I had people messaging us going, "Oh, you've played in this bar, or if you ever play in that bar or that bar, no offense, but we're never going to come and see you play. We'll come and see you play in this bar and that bar." And I understood their reasons, but they also said, "But if you choose to play in X, Y, and Z, I won't hold it against you because you got bills to pay. You got, you know, and it's that kind of thing. Whenever
They're getting wanker tax, so they are.
yeah, well, there's that too. Wanker tax, fuck, I used to, yeah, oh, wanker tax, the best.
how much do I charge? But how much do I charge you?
Yeah, that's it. No, it's like that bit in what do you call it? Death Becomes Her. The sordid issue of coin is different for everyone. You see, just write it down on a paper. You'll come in and you're naked with your beads on.
Yeah, well, you get what you fucking pay for, mate. You know what I'm saying? This is karma.
That's a big figure. That one. I'm talking about the money.
But no, it's good that I just hope that the places that were good. I mean, I know the places that were good to their people who are on the lookout for staff. I have heard from them saying that people are applying to work there because they've heard actually I want to work for you because. But it's so.
There's no security in the industry at all. It's the same with us. I'd say when we go back to work, I don't know whether way it is with comedy, because actually you were saying the other day, it's a weird one for music because we're in a weird position because we were probably out of all the arts the most in demand. Like you've never seen somebody like at a bar and they're up there fucking sculpting for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's or even comedy. It's so they're all like your sort of line of your profession. It's all tailored to you guys, whereas like we can go anywhere sort of thing. But I forgot what the point was because now I'm thinking about that guy.
The point was
sculpting for an hour and a
you
half.
guys were probably the most visible, but also the entirely least utilised, where they just went, that can't happen anymore. So we can still sell drink. You can fuck off. You're like, what happened?
The whole. I'd say that was the point I was making. The industry. There, you just reminded me. The industry. There's no reliability in it because it was. Even though we were so in demand, we were still as easily told no, and in fact we were used as fucking fodder for the hospitality industry to prop itself up.
Yeah, but dude, you think that's bad? Try being part of an art form that's not recognised as an art form if there's any funding grants or anything.
Yeah,
So you're just talking. I'ma jump up there and make people laugh for 20 minutes
but
and then suck my bag.
Yeah. You know what you can also do? You just go, right, well, here's my set and here's my jokes. I'm just going to arrange it into verses and we've got poetry in our hands.
Yeah.
Give us $3.5 grand, please.
Yeah, that's a load of bullshit. It's like, and it goes back to that thing of where the people who make those decisions on the whole are generally people who, A, it doesn't affect their life, and B, have no fucking idea. Like, if you wrote a sitcom, like, do you remember like when Ricky Gervais did Extras? The whole point, like, he was, because when he did, he was like, this is actually what happens whenever you have a fucking great script and a great idea, and then you give it to fucking a big corporation, and then they have someone who isn't funny trying to tell you what to do. That's why like there's so many, like, Northern Ireland, like the comedy scene, like, was fucking flying. Like, so many amazing. I'm not even talking about like the big lads. I'm just talking about general.
Had a good trajectory going on.
Yeah. And the problem is that they're not BBC. There's only a couple of lads who are really BBC friendly.
I verified BBC.
Do you know what I mean? It's like people shit on Paddy Raff a lot, but he's a BBC type comedian. That's why he was able to sell out the Odyssey, but he's never done Lavery's. Or do you know what I mean? It's like,
well, there's you can talk about like the mass appeal or the comedian's comedian, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I run the wee comedy club in here. I'm actually kind of happy doing what I do because the way I do comedy and the way I run shows has completely translated over from when I was a musician. Like, I've known you for a few years, but I've known Gavin for like 15 years when we were in tech and I was playing drums.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So, but I was running shows then.
Yeah.
And I've just taken my little punk rock ethos over to comedy, which is everyone gets paid. I'm the last man paid, which is just a terrible business plan as a promoter, because normally promoters are the first person to completely fuck it. You know what I mean? So mine is I'm the last man paid, which means I have to sort everybody out. And when it goes well, I do well. And when it goes bad, if I have to go to the bank machine, I'll square you up.
Yeah.
So that's the way to do it. But then I host as well, which can save money for the show. I know how to do sound, which can save money for the show. So I can pretty much show up with a complete package of and then bring in the acts. So people say, I'd love to run a comedy night. I'm just like, mate, here's the budget. Give it to me and I'll fucking do it for you.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing where and then I go off and do my own bits, do my other gigs, and then I try and get on tour once or twice a year, but that's completely out the window.
I think even because I had a similar thing with running events and whatnot, it wasn't about you making a name for yourself or me making a name for yourself, and that you were a facilitator, do you know what I mean? And that's like, I was doing gigs in the Black Box, because I remember like running a gig in here to me was a big risk at one stage, where I'm going like, 60 people, can I get 60 people? And then you know, it went well for a couple, and then you go, right, I'll do the Black Box, and there's 180 people, and you might get 100 and 120 and it's still a success. So it's kind of like all the risk falls on you. But I was always about like promoting people that I thought were always better than me, do you know what I mean, or people that I thought deserved to be recognised, like the Guy Lutton, like the DBM and all those people, all the fucking musicians that I looked up to. I was like, why aren't these guys doing a lot more? You know, so whenever you come in, you said about the last man getting paid. I think that's a real rite of passage if you want to be in the sort of thing long term, is to be the guy that, because then people, it will come back for you, because people will go, you put on a show and you did this and did that, fuck, do you want to support staff for this thing I'm doing, or I know somebody? And that's sort of the way to build your community around there. But I didn't know that was weird, that you guys weren't for any grants or anything. You weren't allowed.
No, it's stand-up comedy is not a recognised art form, despite being one of the biggest draws for live entertainment
in the world,
the fucking world. So
it's so strange, because one of the things it's bugging the fuck clean out of me over this last thing is public opinion on artists and what art is. The fucking public have a really unhealthy relationship with art. They're more than happy. It's like a real abusive fucking relationship, in the sense that it is. It's like, but it's all on tap now and it's worth nothing. But it's like you know, a farmer. You say to a fucking Joe Blogs, do you think a farmer should get paid for his chickens? You go, yeah, because they have to feed the chicken. They know the process behind fucking doing that there. But you say that, like, there was a guy saying somebody, like a potter, was on Belfast Live, and he was talking about his thing, and it was all right, and it was an uplifting wee story for him, and I was like, oh, nice. And his pottery was quite good and all, and he's talking about how, like, him and his wife and all, and this, blah, blah, blah. And it just also making pots is a fucking thing now, like an art form now. And it's like, well, yeah, he took a lump of fucking clay and made something with his hands. He put his perspective into an actual form. Do you know what the fuck do you want? Do you like because then they go in the same Marvel film and it doesn't click. That just because there's money behind it, that somebody didn't make that. Do you know what I mean? That somebody didn't write a script, somebody didn't cast, somebody. You know, there was a lot of effort went into that there. Yeah. But it had this real fucking like Spotify and Netflix. Netflix is great, like, but it hasn't really helped the cause because everything's just it's all there, it's all expected for a minimum fee. There's no fucking want, but it's just so strange that. I thought we were getting it hard, but the fact that you're like you're not even an art form, get the fuck.
Well, I mean, like I've always had a full-time job as well as being. I've never been a full-time comedian. Well, I think for a period of about 3 or 4 months, I was a full-time touring comedian, and it felt great, but it's just not feasible or sustainable. So have a mortgage and all that stuff. So which I probably wouldn't have if I was just a fucking comedian. So I'm happy enough. So I'm happy to. It's my little fucking hobby. It's my thing I do. So I'm happy to go off and do that, but. Yeah, I mean, getting started, I played in bands years ago, and then I was just sort of wanted to get away from. I was kind of get sick of, well, don't take this the wrong way, other musicians. Like, I mean, you've known me for years, so you knew what I've seen how, like, being the drummer and knowing how to do sound, and then everything, a lot of stuff would just kind of fall on me. I dealt with a lot.
In the drama of the band as well.
I dealt with a lot of very talented, lazy bastards. It's really hard to find a grafter who's fucking is, top of his chops as well, so stop pointing at that.
That's why we're just so perfect.
Edit that out.
That's the dream team right here, isn't it?
So that's what I was doing.
I wrap up a lead until about 6 months.
Exactly, but I remember playing a gig one time when I was sitting there, and right before we went to start, I went to give it the old 1, 2, 3, 4 Ramones countdown, and one of the boys was turned around and was like, "Do you have a plectrum?" And I was like, "Why would I have a plectrum?" And the reason he asked me,
here it is, it's a big one.
The reason he asked me did I have a plectrum was because I couldn't trust the people in the band. I literally had my own backline because the boys would. Like, did you bring your guitar up? I had like a fucking Hughes and Kettner half stack because the boys would show up with like a rolling 10-watt cube amp. And I'm like, sweet.
To be fair, I do have a capo in my violin
for
case
me
for whenever he forgets.
That's pretty cool.
I also have spare nails and nail clippers and fake and glue.
Because they use the fake nails for playing.
In my car in case he doesn't.
So basically, you're his roadie.
No, do you know what it reminds me of? It's like I'm his girlfriend, and I've stayed over in the house 3 or 4 times, so now I need my own stuff there.
You just left your shit. I've got a drawer.
That's it. It's just a wee toothbrush and a wee fucking razor sitting there.
This is he edits the videos and does all that stuff.
He keeps me right.
I keep him right.
As the saying goes, he bucks me and buys me chips.
You're like, man, I'll generate the content. You show it to the people.
You flog it.
When was the last time we had a taco chip? I used to be our thing.
That was a turnaround.
What we used to do was.
So you can't get any arts grants. Maybe we had a taco chip.
Fucking cheesy one here.
No, you said chips. I was like, wee Monte Carlo.
Don't even, because I haven't had any real food in 2 months.
When we used to before we gig properly, we actually were able to do it full time.
More voluptuous and
we were basically it was I was working in a restaurant full time, so then I'd come down to the Sunflower on a Monday with him, and then I don't think there was anything on a Tuesday, but on a Wednesday you could do Cuckoo, Lavery's, Pavilion, and I think it was maybe one more. It was like 3 or 4. Voodoo was
4
one
of the old
nights.
nights.
So we go out on a Wednesday and get rolled off. And just play tunes.
We'd usually have a practice on a Wednesday, so it was kind of my like, well, I would say to Fanula, and I'd be like, well, I'm out practicing. Mick wants to go round to this bar, and he wants to try it in a live setting, and I roll in the house fucking steaming. Mick, no!
But we'd make the Cuckoo sort of the last stop because it was sort of halfway between where he lived and I lived, and then also Monte Carlo was next to it. So we get a taco chip each.
Genius.
And then I'd be in work on the Thursday morning, barking dog, with my whole be falling out of me like. But he'd have to do the school run with the kids, so I don't know really who got it. So I'm there. People.
One of my most shameful moments, is that Thursday morning. Every Thursday.
Can I get the crab on creme fraiche on sourdough, please? Yep.
What's the fishiest thing you've got? Have you got something really fishy? And mush it into a paste for me. Serve it with butter.
So I know that was So anyway, comedy isn't an art.
I could have told you that. That's all right.
But no, I'd love a wee Monte Carlo.
No, you can't. I haven't had proper food in weeks.
What's going on? What's the proper food?
I get married on the 30th, so I'm kind of like, I was very hamster-like. I looked like I was storing food in my face without actually eating anything.
Okay,
just running with a wheel, sucking on the fucking tit.
What are you doing? Because I'll give you a bit of a tip of something that I've done in recently. So
I've just stop eating shite. Like I don't eat any like chocolate or anything. Like I used to gorge, like literally gorge chocolate, ice cream, juice, all that that stuff's out. More vegetables, less dairy.
That's fine. I was just going to say, I mean, without obviously having to take away everything that you actually want to eat, I did, no matter what, 10,000 steps a day and no more than 2,250 calories.
Well, funny.
Dropped a stone in 5 weeks.
Funny
before football started.
That's literally what I was doing for like 3 weeks there. To start, I can't do it because I dropped my daughter off to school, and then it's literally a 10. I worked out a route. It was 10k steps to get round to go back to my house.
Yeah.
And then I would do weights or running in the evening. And then I'd have all my stuff, but I was eating just all fucking plants, and you were just starving. But I was still eating all the calories, but because it was all plants, I was just digesting them like 10 times quicker. So that's I says the message. I like when you're like. I couldn't go full vegetarian. I still had like steak like or some chicken or once a week, like this big feast.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's not the fucking flavour of the meat I miss, it's the texture of it. Fucking all fucking beans, lentils, it's all mush. It's all fucking it's like am I preparing both my teeth and my arsehole for when I'm 80? Because like, it's just, although saying that, on the arsehole snatch, woo! It's just it's a water slide. Fucking
it's like rinsing your insides. No, I just did it because I was basically saying I don't want to do anything restrictive. So the lad who helped me out with this, a guy called John McMahon down in Newry, used to be like a strength and conditioning coach for like the fucking Derry county football team. So I was like, he probably knows more than me. I'll listen to him.
Or it sounds like he does hers as well. Strength and conditioning.
Yeah. Does both. 2 in 1. But no, it was great because that meant it was just like I wanted to go back and play 1 more year of football because I'm 35. So this would be the 3rd time I've retired. So I went to go back and I was like, I can't show up like this though, because after fucking after lockdown and winter was just just gorgeous.
Comfort
and
food.
first lockdown was just a piss up, just getting furlough and drinking. So I ended up I was like, right, I need to try and drop a stone, and I dropped a stone in 5 weeks. The best thing is, see if you do the first week and you hit it hard, your body goes completely into shock and you'll probably lose about 8 to 9 pounds the first week. And then you just have to fucking maintain the course.
It slows down.
It slows down. It goes like a pound or 2 a week.
Yeah.
But if you can maintain that, and then for like 5 weeks, I was just
that's what I was like, because the first like 2 weeks, you could really see it drop it off me, and then I said to Fernanda the other week, I was like, I think I've got fatter again. And she's like, how is that possible? Because you're not eating. I was like, I think it's the rest of me shrunken down, but my belly's still sitting.
Yeah.
Whereas it's the last to go. Do you know what I mean? So it looks more pronounced than what it was.
The fun thing I would say is, I mean, once you get down to that level, so you drop the weight first, and then you can put it back on in a fun way, which is like you're hitting the gym again. So you can then fucking eat more as long as you've got a program to follow. But the initial just getting it off you feels great. You get it done, and then I was running at training, and I was feeling good again. Back playing football.
The runnings where I've noticed is the running's the hardest thing. I've never been a long distance runner. I've always been a sprinter. I was a fullback in hurley, so the ball came to me and I smacked it away, and I didn't see it for another 5 minutes. So it wasn't a case of like having to, like a midfielder having to run all the fucking time. So the running was something I was never good at, always sprinting. So I've just started running, and I just went, like the sweat was pissing and my lungs weren't working, and I remember the first day I did it and I was like, I am going to fucking die, and I went to myself, do it the next day, and I just did it the next day, and instantly felt better, felt like I could run further and it was less hassle. And that was 2 months ago, and now I'm like, I've doubled my route that I do, and I'm actually with the weight loss, it's kind of fucking hard because you don't see it instantly, whereas when you actually fucking run, you feel it inside you like straight away.
Yeah, so, I mean, top tip for anybody trying to fucking lose any weight or get fit. Number one, don't say you're going to start on a Monday. It's got like a 70% fail rate for people being like, I'll do it Monday, and you're like, you fucking won't. Start on like a Wednesday, and then don't do a fucking mega binge before because you're just going to binge the next weekend. Your body's going to go, I want that again. I was like, don't cut out. It's like, I used to sit down with people. I work in the gym in Newry, and I go to people, give me like your food diary, and people will be like, oh, I eat fucking 5 Chinese a week. I suppose you're going to tell me I can't have a Chinese anymore. I was like, no, I'm just going to tell you this week you're going to eat 3 Chinese, and then the week after you're going to eat 2. I'm like, I'm not, because see when people do that like bang on restriction, setting yourself up to fail in a fucking really bad way. It's like when you go back to the gym, no matter how many times you've like come off the program and gone back in, how many times you go back and just rack up straight away what you were lifting, and then you feel like a dickhead.
You don't,
because you can't. I've done it myself. I've worked in the gym and literally went back when nobody's watching and racked up what I would have been able to lift and went and then felt terrible about myself.
Although the other week I did actually accidentally rack up what I used to, and I just wasn't thinking.
Yeah,
I was
and
just
you
on
go,
autopilot, and look, like I was doing a shoulder
Lost about
press.
2 stone in our shoulder weight.
No, but I was doing a shoulder press on the Smiths machine, so luckily the Smiths there as a spotter anyway.
Yeah.
But when I unhooked it, my shoulders went, nope. But it was like it was. I already done my work in sets. I was just gonna try and get like I think I was just trying to go like for a 1 rep max, and I just went nope, and hooked it back and hit the duck under. I was like, is anybody Snapchatting me for gym fields?
Yeah, weirdly enough, for something that is like, it's sort of for people walking around taking photos of themselves for Instagram. It's really helpful if you don't have an ego going in there, because it's just you. Don't be worrying about anyone else is doing. I've seen like people, much smaller than me lifting heavy weights. Just ignore that. You're there for you.
We before lockdown last year, I was pretty heavy into the training. I was doing really well. I was in good shape and doing well. And Gavin sort of started doing like things like that. And we got to talking. I mean, maybe we should just do it. We did together because I was like, I'll show you a couple of things that I was sort of being taught and might help you out. And so we went and did.
That's right. Brought you up to my better gym.
Was it up in Twinbrook, was it?
Aye, Twinbrook.
And fuck me, mate, this fucking bro would not leave us. And I call him bro because he's like fucking disco muscles. And then he was like, here. So he came out. He said, "You're a fucking big lad." And he's one of them ones.
Perpetual motion speed.
Yeah, and he's like, "So here, what do you squat?" And I went, "Why?"
You're man.
Here, if you give it time, it'll be a fucking Himalayan. Because I had a fucking a karai last night. But anyway, but those sort of people, and I was just like, "Mate, can you just fuck
See,
off?"
that's why I don't want to go to Pure Gym. It's so much cheaper.
But this wasn't a purist.
No, but that's what I'm
just
saying. But the only reason I went there is because it was literally, I dropped my son to school, and it was like a 5,000 step walk to the gym.
And you're warmed up and you're in.
And then I did my stuff, and then I went home and I did the school runs.
Yeah.
That's literally because it was right there beside me.
Yeah.
Whereas I wouldn't have chose to go to that. But I don't like. But it was like 30 quid a month. Whereas like Pure Gym's like fucking 18 quid a month. And I was like, okay. But then anytime I went in your Pure Gym, you could just smell the links.
It was so weird though,
aftershave.
because that day I was in the Better Be or whatever it's called with you, and that thing that happened with your man, I was like, that never would happen to me when I'm in the gym. But the Pure, I used to go to Pure St Anne's, and there was this fucking gobshite of a PT who used to go around screaming at people. And like, he wasn't like the biggest guy. He looked like he was 18 and took some steroids. He'd be a bit of a chest on him and stuff. But he'd be like, you'd be on the treadmill or something like that there, and he'd be like, "Come on, man, sprint!" Or I'd be like, there's a weight room downstairs, don't you? And I'd be like, "Fuck away off, you wee cunt."
You're like, I have not paid you for a session.
And then he'd come in, I'd see him come in, Des, and work out, and he'd be fucking lifting kettlebells up and smashing them on the floor, and I go, "What the fuck is wrong with you, you
Who
wee
hired
cunt?"
you as a PT?
Exactly.
Who looked at you and thought that was a good idea?
So I go now to a PT pretty much exclusively. I do go to Pure Gym in Newton Abbey, but I go at like 11 or 12 at night when there's no one there.
So good,
and I don't have to queue
See,
for
that's
anything.
the one thing I would love. See, whenever I go to the gym, which is my living room, and it's a barbell and a load of straps, and there's never anybody there either. But there's no blue roll to wipe myself down.
Or judgment.
Judgment. I can feel the judgment through the room. It comes down through the ceilings, but it's gotten less over the last while.
Wasn't there one time we were playing Xbox, or we were going to play Xbox, and you were like, we were going to play some Call of Duty, and you were like, "Right, Mick, I have a few more sets to do, so just if you hear any grunting, that's what's going on." I'm not having a wank.
Oh no!
And I was like, I had to take my headphones off, and I was like, "Just text me whenever you're ready to play."
I feel dirty.
I feel violated here.
Coming back.
But no, that's why I go to an actual PT exclusively now, pretty much, apart from like the nighttime sessions in Pure, because I know with him what I'm getting. To be fair, if you've ever seen 50 Shades of Grey, I haven't, but I can only guess that sex dungeon is what I fucking train in. Because every time I walk, he literally harnessed me up the other day to do what's called a pendulum squat.
You do squats listening to Pendulum.
No, but it's basically so you're meant to, you're basically you start up. Your heels get raised, so you're almost like you're on your tiptoes like that there. But you've got a fucking brace around your back, and it goes up against this hook, and then the whole point is so that whenever you actually go into the squat position, instead of you normally going from which is A to B, you're not, because your fucking toes here, your arse basically goes like that, like a pendulum. Like, and I was.
And then that's where the fucking furry suit comes in.
Bring out the gimp.
I just imagine the gimp in a fucking
Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I know. I was just sitting there going, Mick, you need to get that story into it.
No, but then I give him money at the end of it, and then I feel fucking
dirty.
I feel dirty afterwards.
You need a shower.
I
You need to wipe your fucking bars.
the first day back with him, I fucking couldn't steer. My car's power steering, and I still couldn't steer the fucking car.
Like steering it with your elbows.
Everyone's trying to like. It's your gyms are either like completely commercial, like a fucking pure gym, with just like playing, or you're fucking in a shipping container in Carrickfergus.
Punching a bag full of nails. Just fucking
Newton Breed actually, and there's a fucking bonfire dump just down the street.
Yeah.
So I
You
feel
should be
right.
over there fucking
Rocky Four, you
Arnie
running away.
Schwarzenegger and that. No lifting the logs in.
Yeah.
He's there, lads. And fucking
To be
start a
fair,
commando.
he has suggested doing some strongman stuff, and I'm like, mate, give me a wee while.
Let's get started
Yeah.
before
No,
you
'cause
go
I
to the
was
middle.
I was doing really well, but then lockdown happened, and obviously.
You lost a good load of weight. You lost about 4 stone or something. didn't you?
Yeah, it did, but then I ended up putting a stone on. Intentionally, accidentally.
But that feels nice.
But that was.
You
like
still
a
feel
muscle.
good.
Yeah.
When you're just overweight,
transferred
you
it.
feel shite.
Problem is, even when I lost a lot of weight, see, trying to find clothes that fucking fit me, because see this junk and these quads and everything. See, trying to get trousers to go around
I
them.
don't remember when we were fucking, because he kept going on to me about, PTSD just coming back here, because you kept going on to me about, you're always going on about, I work my legs, like you work your legs all the time, and you were doing about your squats and your this, and you always went, because I was always about upper body, and you were always doing about your legs.
All about the base.
No, but then I was like, we were sharing a hotel room when we were touring, and I came in and he was in his boxers, and I was like, Mick, what the fuck's wrong with your legs? Because they were just like pure fucking muscle.
I wasn't
Looked like
flexing.
something you get in a hut in Disneyland for
They were
food.
just fucking
Yeah, it was just, I was just like flabbergasted. I was like, what the fuck is up with you?
Yeah.
No, because even now at this, like I weigh 21 stone, so see, just walking around at this weight, your calves get like. They always get worked
work
out. Like my legs I've always had.
You
a really
look like
strong base.
you look like two wee Lego men that've been just stuck together. Do you? Just ripped legs, and then I also like pints.
But he was fucking fascinated. So then I think that gave me some kind of like validation whenever I could actually say to him, right, Mum, we'll go
It was
you go
just
train
so
with me.
fucking odd just to walk into a room and just be like, I was like, the fuck is them muscles? What?
Yeah.
It was just, no, because you know what it was? It was just fucking cut.
Yeah.
gut.
The irony of it was the year before that, I walked into your room and he was covered in chicken wings and in his boxers. so I was like, well, that was a turnaround. He had a pizza, a kebab, chicken wings, chips, fucking everything.
Can I justify myself?
No, just leave it at that. It's much funnier.
Is that because you don't want your ma hearing their fucking real story?
Here, I don't want to give her any good ideas here.
No, mate.
Jesus.
But yeah, anyway.
So that was a good turnaround. You went from chicken wings to, beefy legs.
So you're going to be a bus driver?
Hopefully so. But people are like, I remember like working in hospitality, working at, like managing a cafe, and somebody goes to me, "How's comedy going?" I was like, "I'm still working here."
In that sense, it's a good joke.
Yeah. You're like, don't take it the wrong way, but just paying if you want me to be funny with it. People are just like, tell us a joke. I'm like, $5.
At least put a tip on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Career change, hopefully. I still have to pass exams and stuff, but yeah, I always really wanted a job where I could get paid like a school teacher's wage, but only have GCSEs, and this is my moment.
Are you hoping for a glider? Or are you hoping for an old school fucking two
Shouting at the children driving the school bus, like,
because the glider, you're sealed off from the world.
I think I might be going to glider.
God, man, you'll see.
Which will be like real peaceful and stuff for a wee while. Although I'm worried. I mean, as someone who does comedy and obviously has whatever my demons are, being locked in a room on my own for 8 hours is maybe not a good idea.
Nobody can tell what you're thinking behind that wheel.
So you legit can't pay the driver on a glider?
No.
You can only do
Buy
the
your
thing?
ticket.
You buy your ticket at the glider hubs.
It is. You can get a free glider if you are fucking smart enough. Like, I still pay my ticket because I just can't be annoyed with the hassle.
That actually, because
I'm getting chased by an
It's like a
inspector.
tram.
I would never want to be a bus driver because of people. That's like why I'm so glad I'm out of hospitality. Speaking of tips on tables, I used to work with a guy who used to do a thing called ball orders, and he used to like challenge us. And this is our manager, and he used to challenge us to do ball ordering. So what would happen is when you're at a table, and when people are seated and you're standing taking the order, there's a certain level.
Put your balls on the table.
Get your balls on the table without anybody.
Surely the average man
That
would be
can't
have
be.
the edge on that there, because if you were tall, you'd have to do an actual.
But this is the thing.
A
slope.
Because
You'd have to slide into it.
Because I'm 6 foot tall, but yes, like he was about 5. How tall was Nick? I was going to say how old was Nick. It doesn't
Nick's
matter.
Slightly smaller than me. I'd
Yeah,
say.
maybe
Or about the same size. I'm 5'11".
About 5'9", say. But he was really good. But there was another fella, Kevin, who used to work with us. He was a 5'6", and he was
He's
just
putting his tits on the table.
Yeah.
But he just get his
He's in tippy toes.
but just get his balls sitting. But he used to wear really super tight trousers, like, so it was really evident. So
Right.
we knew exactly what was happening in the restaurant. But like, fuck me.
Would anybody? Because I would be very tempted. Like if I was at a restaurant and menu here and the waiter's there, and you turn around and the balls are right there, and you go like he's putting his balls on the table. Would you not just go? just a wee flick, and I'd be like, "Oh, sorry, was that your balls on the table?"
Yeah. Because what's the only thing worse? As someone who's played sports fears, what's the only thing worse than a punch in the balls? A slap on the balls.
A slap on the balls, and
Yeah,
I
it hurts worse.
backhander on the balls.
It hurt. Yeah. The flick.
No, it's
hurts
the
worse than
the
the.
graze is worse because it takes a few seconds.
Yeah,
for it to-
and then your stomach hurts, and then you think you're gonna vomit.
Fuck, I remember getting punched in the balls once at school, and that was I was about 13 or 14. Oh, it still sickens me to think about it.
Yeah, I've actually seen a man at a game of hurling who got the sliotar fall in the deck like, and I vomited. You know, one of those ones where I saw it happen and I went.
I punched my cousin in the dick, and I didn't know because
You didn't know he had a dick or something?
No, she was
furious.
No, we were like, because he lives up in Newcastle, he's a big lad. Like everybody, I keep saying this to you, and I
Is that
said,
the one I met him?
no, I don't think you've met him. I'll not say his name out loud because just in case. But
It's Edwin.
Edwin. he fucking, so he, like, I'm the smallest of all my uncles and my dad and all. Like I would always be, I'm wider than a lot of them, but they're all much bigger than me. And yeah, so I think I must have been about 10 or 11. And he would have been like 16 or 17. He was already huge at that stage. And we were mucking about, like, I'm the wee cousin type of thing. And he like floored me on the ground. Was like, ah. And I just went, boom, like proper, but not in the balls, in the dick.
Right.
So apparently the dick got fairly bruised, and a hospital trip came out where the dick had to be exhumed.
Was there a fucking court order?
It was dug up from whence it was buried. So yeah, that there is.
Wow.
Right.
I said, it was just like fucking whacking a sausage up an exhaust pipe.
Was there
Was there
I jammed my
priest
cousin's
out there
dick back into his
banging it out?
pelvis.
Fuck me.
But yeah, so sorry about that, man.
People in dicks.
It was a complete gut. I remember it being like it was a gut reaction just to do it, because I was like, do you ever see like when you were younger and like like you like somebody would pin you down and tickle you or something, and you'd have that like sort of delirium where you're like you're terrified but you're still having fun. It was kind of like that, and it was like and just went a fucking tiger uppercutted him right in the dick.
Yeah.
Some fucking sagat there. Tiger up your butt.
Oh my lord.
So yeah,
Jesus Christ. What time are we on here?
fucking closing time.
Fucking hell, mate.
By Semi-Sonic, yeah. Their other big tune.
Oh, that's not too bad.
23,
Happy days.
That's right. Is this one of those ones where sometimes you're not paying attention and then you've been talking for 4 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of.
And you're like, fuck me, lads, we've just recorded a prog album there. I didn't mean to.
Stick an E minor over that. Well, we'll be number 4 in the fucking metal charts on Spotify. No problem. Fucking. Actually, speaking of, do you watch your man Rick? I've met him a couple of times. Do you ever watch your man Rick Beato? He's like a YouTube musical savant. His son, he did a big viral thing where he basically realised his son was pitch perfect. He's like a music teacher and has been for decades.
Is this the guy who does like 14-part harmonies and stuff?
No, like he plays the piano and the son's able to sing all the notes and write them all
I
out.
have
And all.
seen
He's
this,
only
yeah.
young and all. So basically, he's very entertaining. But he does a thing on. I seen recently it was like he does I'll listen to the top 10 on Spotify and he'll go through them, and he basically, as he's listening to the songs, already knows everything about them. Do you know that type? His ears so finely tuned, and he's all, it's kind of boring. This is good, and blah blah. But he did like the top 10 like metal songs, and I was like, all right, fair fucks. I'll have a what could be in this. Metal's not metal anymore.
Oh no, it's not.
It's
People like ring out chords and all the metal. Like, that's not a thing. When did that come in?
When did they use? When was the a gratuitous use of a major?
Yeah.
Isn't that it's E minor or drop C?
Yeah.
That's fucking it. You tune every string to F and you leave
Yeah.
it at that.
No riff is allowed to be past the 6th fret.
It all has to be right there.
There, that's it.
And if it
Do
goes,
that again.
if it goes in terms of frets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's an acceptable fucking.
Yeah.
You should look at For Him the Bell Tolls. Most fucking, it's just chromatic. It's like the fucking heard the Jaws theme and went, we could add a few more notes to that and come up with a good riff.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use the middle, so you have to riff on the first 6 frets, and then you're not allowed to solo beyond like any further down than 17.
Yeah.
It's just 17 to 29, which doesn't exist, but you're gonna make it.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen was Max Cavalera from Sepultura took the bottom 2 strings off his guitar, like the high E and the high B, because he never used them. So he just has 4 strings in his guitar.
I remember watching a thing years ago, and it was like for people like playing power chords and Pan Mute and stuff, where in like a professional studio, like, oh, there's going to be some sort of technology they use for this, something where they like, take out the harmonics. Nah, bit of tape on the bottom 3 strings, so they could just go without anyone going.
That's
I'll play that again for fuck's sake. Stop hitting that.
Get that bit of cotton wool out there.
Yeah. Just tape the
Fuckers with your frets.
And I'd sponge. A wee bit of sponge under that. I'll read the fuck out of it.
off your violin when you're a child. They give it to you to put on your fucking your chin. You were learning in the 80s and 90s. You wouldn't have been provided that comfort.
No, I was given nails.
Yeah. I remember saying something about somebody was like, "Did you get the wee sponge?" I was like, "Not when I was learning violin, though."
Here, do you want to do a Stephen Hawkins impression? There you go. That's you there. Just there you go.
To be fair, when I was learning the violin, Stephen Hawkins wasn't one of them. He wasn't like that. So
he wasn't robotic. He wasn't Dr. Robotnik.
I don't think wasn't that something that happened in the 90s?
What,
the BT
Sonic?
adverts? Yeah, that was him. The important thing is we keep on talking.
No, I say, he said, my eyesight means a lot to me. You ever see that one? No?
His eyesight? His eyesight? I like that your impression of Stephen Hawking sounds like me having an asthma attack.
I know, it sounds like it gives me a bit of anxiety with him and Finny.
Get me my blue inhaler.
What the fuck is going on in here?
We're not
this is not what people are paying for.
This is what we call in the industry crack. If you want a line of it, it's a tenner.
Yeah, fucking hell, mate.
But not like a Whitney Houston kind of.
No.
More of a fun.
Oh, she was carried out by the bodyguard.
As a coroner, it's a different thing.
Jesus.
Oh, Whitney, what a terrible life.
Did you discover any people were always talking about like the lockdown and stuff, and everyone was like, oh, you must have written loads of new stuff, and I was like, no, my stuff all comes from like life experiences, travel, going out, meeting people, doing stuff. So I haven't written fuck all. Musically, were you inspired while locked in your house to bring out a new album?
I keep writing stuff and then instantly forget it because it's just nothing.
It's so disposable. You've nowhere to play it.
Yeah, I've not. It's like I used to play in altered tunings all the fucking time. So there was always like, if I went to an altered tuning, it was for a reason, and the reason was to play this piece of music that I wrote. But because I'm playing it standard now, it's all, and your hands get used to doing what they're doing. They do what they know. Like whether it's on purpose or not. Yep, double hand, one on the bag, one on the tip, and that's the way we go. But so I just keep I've been writing all this stuff, and I've noticed my technique overall has gotten better. But like in terms of like fucking stuff where I've went here, I'm gonna remember that. I've probably written about 20 fucking riffs or pieces, and I probably remember 1.5 of them.
You're not just recording like all of this gear. You're not just recording everything you play.
It's a pain
Or would you
to
listen
set
back to it and go, I don't care?
It's a pain in the hole to set up. I have this thing, and I was talking. There's a guitar player, Shane Hennessy, and he was putting up. He's been putting up little snippets. He's doing quite well for himself. He's putting up little snippets of like interviews he's doing, where he's talking about his technique, and like he actually scores out stuff on sheet before, because he's like, I don't want the guitar to influence, what I'm fucking doing and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, I tend to go, right, here's a couple of chords, throw them together, and then I build the melody around it, and then I'll play them perpetually on loop for 3 or 4 days and add bits in, doesn't work, but because I'm in the loop, I can come back to it and go out of it. And then see by the time it's finished, I'm fucking sick of hearing it.
Because it's on a loop.
Because I've been looping it in my mind and like thinking, oh, I can go here now. And then by the end of it, I'm like, oh, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like somebody give me like too much great food. Do you know, like the sandwich just keeps going on and on and on, and then by the time I'm finished, I'm like, I feel sick.
Yeah. We recorded that dance track we do, Disco Biscuits, and Gavin edited the video, and he went to town. For having only one angle, he really went to town on like creating this sort of really cool dance music video.
Lots of pans.
But he had to listen to it he had it playing all the time, like fucking for weeks. And then we went to a live stream down at Sailortown, and then we played that tune, and he turned to me 10 seconds into it and went, This doesn't sound right.
No, it's complete because it had all been mixed and mastered and sounded really nice. And
okay.
And it was at a certain
live.
tempo and all. And then when we were just blasting it out live, I was like, am I in the wrong tuning? Or like, are you playing the right notes? It's like, it just sounded completely fucking off to me, just because I was so used to hearing it through.
Yeah, the answer was no.
No, which is, so I just kept going.
Yeah.
I think one of the annoying things as well is if you listen to a recorded piece of music and then you go play it live, it's faster. Everything's faster. I'm sorry, lads. When you go see your favorite band live, you're in that energy, and that's the speed of it. And then you go back, because I noticed this when I restored a kit over lockdown. So I was like, I'm going to get back to playing drums, and I set up and I whacked my headphones on. I was like, I'm going to play along with some of my favorite stuff. And because they're recording it in a studio with a click track, there's no feel to it. So I'm trying to play along, but I keep going ahead of it because I'm getting into the song, and I'm like, fucked it. Whereas because the guy is in the studio going terrified, and there's no feel until you see it live, and you're like, I saw it live and it was brilliant.
So I always think, like, whatever you do, like, I always prefer live tracking. We were like talking to Dean Stevens the other week, and he was saying about, like, you know, because he's recording engineer and has done all sorts of projects. He's like, you know, the click track's good because everything's formatted to a sense. But I says to him, I like doing live takes. I think that's better for us, the way it works and all. Because if it is too fast, we'll listen back and go, right, we'll slow it down a wee bit, but it'll not be like fucking, do you know what I mean? Like, this is the perfect, there's a thing called the perfect recordings. Like, everybody wants it to be perfect, but the best things are born out of imperfections. Yeah. So, like, that's the way we would work going forward. But, it's, I always find that if you're doing it to a click, why not just use a drum program? If you were going, because they're so good these days.
I had that. I remember recording years ago, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I can just like put a patch over everything you hit." And I was like, "What do you need me for? Why am I doing 10 takes of this?
Yeah, just you do it.
Just you do it." And because it's everything, he goes, "Yeah," because then like all the kicks and snares. And then I went and recorded with my band, and we did it in a wee studio in the west of Ireland where we all played live. And I was like, I like that.
Because it's way...
I can hear the imperfection. I can hear where I'm like, it didn't just quite get the fucking centre of the snare time. And it sounds lovely.
But I think that's what the Foo Fighters did with one of their albums, wasn't it? They just recorded it in the garage. And they just fucking played it. Primus were always very good for doing that. They always fucking just play it.
Famously, Beethoven's Third Symphony there's a big mistake in it.
Oh, what?
Basically happened back in the day, in the excuse me, the 19th century. But like a composer would show up, and then there would be a concert on, and the orchestra would rehearse it, and he had never heard his music other than on a piano when he had composed it. So Third Symphony, I think it was, and so the orchestra were playing, and then the French horn player makes this really bad error, and Beethoven stops it. He's like, "Stop playing," and then he changes the manuscript to include the mistake. He's like, "That actually makes more sense to me."
Right.
And then it's so when you listen, I can't remember what movement it's in, but it's the French horn. It fucks up. I might be wrong, but no, I'm not sure.
Just be confident with it. Believe in the lie, even if you.
Yes, Your Honour.
Yeah, if you say
yes, Your Honour. It's the French horn
you.
who fucked up.
Yeah, I know it's the classical. I'm just like, sweet story.
That's a cool story, bro.
Beethoven was a badass. That's why they brought him back in Bill and Ted.
That's true as well.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean,
They bring back fucking Mozart, the wee wet behind the ears cunt.
But see, I was saying, piano. I was more so as well because it's, I mean, with that sort of music. So music in that, when you learn classical music, there's so many rules of how, there's only so many notes and there's only fucking so many places you can go with this. So when you've got somebody who's just like, I can't actually hear what I'm playing, it's like, he's going to do something badass like this.
But with classical music, there were so many things, like, they would only travel, they could only travel so far, and because of the times they were living in it, like, it's like you were talking about earlier, like everything's just so fucking there, Netflix or Spotify, it's there. So that even if you thought he was, it's only scholars that go who are able to analyze all these things about before. It's always historians seem to have the fucking problem with shit.
Yeah.
Like they're like, well, that was wrong. Like, no, but that's how it was at the time.
The context isn't within your own personal.
Yeah.
Thing. That's why they consider like revisionist with films and books that were racist and all.
Yeah.
It's like, of course they were, because they were all fucking racist at the time, but you had to read them within the context of that there, you can't.
There's so many legends of music at that time that myths that you don't know if they're true. Like Paganini, renowned as the greatest violinist of all time, sold his soul to the devil so he could play the violin better. Apparently he used to fucking break his high string on purpose so that he made his stuff. His stuff is the most difficult stuff to play on the violin anyway, but he actually did that on purpose, so he like have to be.
So he didn't have that easy access to the higher notes. He had to play. Well, maybe he's just a fucking Pavilion then.
Well, he
made it difficult.
He was just he was a drug addict, and I think he ended up dying of VD or something out there. But,
What a champ. Is that?
What a champ.
Hang on. Also, is the devil went down to George? Is that about him? Where he challenges it? He's like, "Do you want to fiddle, do you?
Yeah.
Do you want to play violin after? You."
Hey,
You fucking broke your high A string again. This is the last one I'm laying you.
these dominants cost a fortune, for fuck's sake, Nicola. Why are you doing that?
I mean, that's cool. I mean, there's him, and then there's the famous blues man Robert Johnson, the guitar player, who sold his soul to the devil as well. Have you considered selling your soul to the devil?
I wouldn't get much for it, to be fair.
I'm not allowed to be.
Because I mean, you guys are pretty good anyway. So
You mean going into the world's shittest pawn shop? We'll be up there with Vanilla Ice's soul, MC Hammer's soul.
To be fair, I have a few pairs of shoes and he's throwing out. Well, these do. I just take these.
He's telling me, "Oh, got that."
Did you see what I did
Your
there?
souls. I think it always reminds me of the Red Dwarf joke where fucking Rister's telling Rimmer about the magic shoes, and he's trying to illustrate the point. You know, like, it's all supposed to be like a real deep conversation, and he's like, "Oh, these shoes, they were like fucking blah blah blah," and I sat there, and the shoes ended up dying, but it went on a big crime spree beforehand, and Rimmer's buying into it, and he's like, So the guy who owned the shoes goes to the priest and says, "I feel really bad for these shoes because I believe they're alive. Do they go to heaven?" And he says, "Don't worry about it. They've got no souls." And Rimmer's like, "Oh, like really like missing the fucking joke."
yeah.
So,
Just doesn't get the point. Well, I mean, that was always the one my grandma used to say. Whenever she was like, if you needed a new pair of shoes, you had Protestant shoes because obviously they had no soles. So that was
yes.
What?
All the Egyptians.
We've been recording for nearly an hour.
False
Nobody said anything sectarian. It's like we're not even in Belfast.
Yeah, Egyptians' shoes. They don't have any tongues.
To be fair, I spent my afternoon in White City today, surrounded by fucking Union flags. So
White City.
you
You love it. You drape yourself in one of those Union
To be
flags.
it is
White
funny.
City. It's called White City.
Yeah, it's part of North Belfast.
Do you have like a fucking hood on? Did you have a horse?
No, legit.
I just imagine Minas Tirith from fucking
No, it's
from Lord of the Rings.
No.
It's just some guy, mag hunt at the top.
Yeah.
Burn him!
Well, my brother's missus is from there, and so that's why we would go and visit. But there was the other day I was driving through, and her brother's in an Orange Lodge, and they were out practicing. And I was driving up the street, and the band was in front of us, and he's on the lamp bay giving it the big one, and I'm out the window going, "Craig, would you hurry the fuck up?" They're all looking around going, "What? Who's this fiend shouting abuse at us?"
Where I live is a wee bit flaggy as well, and there was a boy in fixing the gas boiler to me, and he came into our house, and obviously I do material about my nondescript name, and my hurl stuff is sitting at the door, so I can just lift it and go to training, and the boy goes to me, "So I was like, go on." He was like, "You live here?" I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "And is that yours?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Does none of the neighbours ever say anything?" I goes, "Would you say something to a man carrying a hurl?"
Your boiler all of a sudden starts singing the Fields of Athenry when you turn it on and fucking...
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, I'm not like that at all because I'm from a mixed area, so I didn't get that until I moved to Belfast, and I was like, "You people are mental."
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with you guys?
I didn't realise how mental this time
Segregation
was.
is not meant to happen amongst white people.
I know. It's mad.
As I said, what did I say? Sectarianism is where we've invented racism, but we're really fucking stupid.
They were colourblind. Colourblind racism.
Who sang a song called Colorblind? Who was that?
I'm colorblind.
Ray Charles.
Darius.
There you go. Fuck up, you bastard! How dare you speak ill of the heroin addict dead? How dare you? Jamie Foxx was fucking incredible in that film, by the way.
Good show.
He really was.
He got the Oscar for it, didn't he?
Yeah, I'd like to think he did.
That's right. I think you think
You
it is.
you
You didn't see.
You didn't see it coming.
Shocking.
Yeah, you see.
Shocking.
That's like a joke your dad tells you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but he is a dad, so he can tell.
That's
Oh,
what yeah, you can
See,
have that one.
I don't-
You ever seen Stevie Wonder's wife? No,
No,
Nell
no.
T.
No,
The old cheese
Get out.
grater, most violent book he's ever read.
That's why all my jokes have to be good, because I'm childless. That's why they
You actually
are
have to
good.
put material into this.
All right, good in terms of.
As in funny.
I thought you meant like dark.
Well, no, they're dark too. Sure. You know, that one, the priest one, I can't tell it anymore.
He's banned from
Our first gig, I told us a joke on stage if it had a circumcised Catholic priest.
in a church.
Oh, I know what the punchline that is. Don't say it. In a church.
In a church.
Well,
it was
Jesus
it was
Christ.
the Dunkern Art Centre, which was a church.
I've done there. It's really lovely.
It's lovely.
And that's why they got no outs from them that year.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Religious,
Mick was
religious
like-
discrimination against the paedophiles.
They're good people. But anyway.
Was it North American Man Boy Love Association? That's it. You fucking come in.
Nambla.
Speaking of foreskins, that's a good tip for us to end on. Bye.
All new episodes of the String Ninjas podcast every Monday on all major streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Or subscribe to us to get early access to both the audio and the video versions of the podcast at patreon.com/String Ninjas.
The String Ninjas Podcast.